The idea of a dream job is kind of funny, isn't it? I believe it was James Baldwin who once said, "I do not dream of labor." And I couldn't agree more. I spend enough time there during the day, I don't want to be there at night. And yet, until I win the lottery, or the Squid Games, I guess I'll have to keep clocking in. And yet, if I'm going to spend 40 hours a week, really anywhere, about a third of my life, I'd like it, love it even. But I understand, this seems like a privilege, a luxury. I understand that entirely. I am a first-generation college graduate from a blue-collar family. And you might not see it way in the back, but these hands are not the hands of a working man. I am also adopted transracially into a loving family. And I understand what it means when you're from a blue-collar family, a black man in a white neighborhood, when you're all of these things, to want to have external validation, that dream job for you, right? I understand all of that. I also understand what family told me when I finally graduated. They said, "Noah, if you do what you love, you won't work a day in your life." And I am here now to tell all of you that they were so wrong, it's not even funny. Now, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm sorry, right? But I have been tired, I've been exhausted, so tired I can't come up with a third word to describe it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Some might call this phenomenon the passion tax, the price for doing what you love and getting paid to do it. And what I do is director of admissions here for the United States Naval Academy. I've done similar work for college admissions here for Penn State, we are, Dartmouth, and Harvard University. And I love what I do, being able to help other folks, much like myself, navigate college admissions. And I've worked with over 500 different students here. And there's been one thing that I've really found has made a difference, has been a marker for success, and that has been paying the passion tax, following your dreams and not the money. Over the next 10 minutes, in a way both equally informative and entertaining, I hope to convince you all to do the same. Those who are early professionals just starting off, those who are mid-career professionals looking to make a change, even those like myself, or what I once was, someone just trying to pick a college major and deciding, what the heck should I do? This goes out to you. Now, the first thing is defining the passion tax. What is it, and why should we pay it, right? There is an organizational psychologist by the name of Adam Grant, and he found from UPenn that there was this phenomenon, the passion tax, wherein employers, and how do I say this, might take advantage of those who enjoy what they do. They might ask them to do things that are outside of their normal job purview. They might have them stay late or work early. Who already does that? Who already gets asked by their boss? And it always pains me to see so many hands go up. But the point here is you're already paying a passion tax for a job that you may not love. Now, let me make it very clear here. I'm not saying that we should be taking advantage of any position, but I am saying we should choose the jobs that we are passionate about and make the sacrifice. Now, I've interviewed, again, over 500 different students here, and they're amazing. Harvard, Dartmouth, Naval Academy, and I ask similar questions, right? You get into the interview, and what is your greatest strength? Oh, I see, okay, your humility, that's great right there. Greatest weakness? You're too timely. Okay, yep, that's a great answer, okay. And what is your greatest passion? This is where you talk now. And they often wouldn't because they didn't have a passion. They would list off their accomplishments, what they've done, what they plan to do. I want to do this, I want to go here, I want to have this job. And that's not really what we're looking for, right? What are you passionate about? That's the lesson. Now, let me talk to you a bit for a moment here about Claire. We'll call her Claire, that's her name. And Claire here wanted to go into the WNBA, and she was going to be amazing, incredible. She had the skills for it, she had the background with all the sports camps there, and then she tore her ACL. But don't worry, a year passed, and she was able to go back for it again, and then tore her ACL again. Yeah. It was a rough story. She came into my office, dream deferred, right? And I said, let's rethink about this. What is your passion? Because what did you say? Go to the WNBA, right? But that's just what she wants to do. No, her passion is sports. And so what we did then is, what can you really do in your field? Well, I can do the producer, right? And she went away, producer for SportsCenter, ESPN, and she did that during the pandemic, where she won a Sports Emmy for her efforts and loves her new job. So when we say about a dream job and defining your passion, so many of us might do what I did. You find one job, one pinpointed job, and say, that's what I want to do. And if I don't do that, does it make me a failure? Do I change? What does that mean for me? Instead, we define what the field is, what we like to do, and make efforts towards that. Now that is, of course, defining what your passion is. I also said about following your dreams. Now, show of hands here, who has heard that statement before? And who thinks that is a little cliche? I know I did when I first heard it for many years, because when I heard it, it's a lot like being a first-generation college student being told to go to college. I say, how do I do that? And then people say, oh, wait, it's kind of, you got They don't always have the answer, right? They just tell you to do it. There's no plan, no strategy. And so for someone who doesn't know what they're doing, that can be overwhelming. It's a lot like follow your dreams. Follow your dreams, but there's no plan for how to do that. And that's where the confusion sets in. So when I say follow your dreams, what I mean is make those dreams a reality. What can you do right now to advocate and to make moves towards actionable guidance towards what you want to do? I think of my brother Jonah. He loves cars, loves them. He would go to college for that. He would go to work for that, then go home and work on his own cars. And I said, what the heck do you do? You spend all day with cars, come back to your own. Do you not get tired of it? And he said something in response that I will never forget. It's like cars, man. Just like cars. And I said, yeah, you just like cars. He had a passion for what he was doing. And it was different, working on his own car versus cars that were for other people. But he was doing what he loved. He had a separation, a boundary between the things that he was doing for himself and things he was getting paid for. But in both cases, he loved what he was doing. Which comes to our last point then. Define the passion tax and why you should go for it. How to follow your dreams and not just a cliche statement. But I said follow your dreams and not the money. I did not say you wouldn't find it. When I say about going after your dreams, I mean don't prioritize going after the money. In fact, there are studies from 2023 from UPenn that show that there are folks who have a happiness number, that if they get just enough to have their basic needs met and then a little extra on the side, people are relatively happy. And after that, the more money they got, you'd think, right, they'd get happier and happier. But that's not the case. What made them more happy was doing what they loved. The money would, of course, make them happy to a degree, but did not make them any happier after a certain point. It plateaued. It was empty. It's doing what you love that makes a difference. And as someone who is first generation, we'll call our family, the first to go to college, the first to get to this point, I understand that. To think these external validations are going to mean the world. And you might think it's going to be the higher salary, the corner office, the longer title, the fancier car. All of this is external. All of that doesn't bring you the internal validation of doing what you love. You see, that's really the dream job right there. Doing what you love, defining what your passion is, finding that field of interest. And then, how do you make that money? Much like Claire. You might find it in a way that you never expected to, a different kind of job, but still doing what you love. Well, of course, like Jonah, always having the boundaries between doing for yourself and for others. And then finally, not being driven by markers of success like all of these things here, but about markers of happiness for yourself. And if we all do that, whether you are an early professional, mid-career, or just trying to figure out what your college major might be, well, then maybe that is a job worth dreaming about. Thank you.